Hold on.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Mad Mouth, coming off of No Limits, where I had some fun with a WNBA player that got ripped, rattled, and rolled. Not going to mention it, already did that the first time. But let me tell you, I had good reason to do it. Just like I have good reason to introduce the crew. Right to left here, we got Jacob Christner back on for his Wednesday showcase.
Hey, if there's WNBA players that want to get rickrolled, I think they're used to it by now.
That's true. Well, this one I had good reason to. And Candy?
It's great. Always great to be here. Just waiting to find out what you have up your bag of tricks for tonight.
So, Marvin, what do we call this night?
Wild Wednesday.
That's it. I trained him good, baby. I trained him good. Wild Wednesday. And, of course, Will Person, if I get too loud, I'll probably end up putting him back in a hyperbaric chamber and giving him a headache. But, oh, well, he still has one of them there.
That's such a perfect promotional thing for him, that thing right behind
it. It sure is, isn't it?
It's promotional for them, not for me.
That's okay. And last but not least, the guy that likes to talk about Detroit sports will have a lot of reason to tonight, and he won't even have to do it. But I have to really seriously him tonight to some of the built in to the show. If this is going to be a wild show, get ready to go. And we're actually going to start off with one, actually. Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff lead the NFL in passing touchdowns of 25 and 20, respectively. Once upon a time, those two were traded for each other. So I decided to go a little deeper into this, where Matthew Stafford was actually 74, 90, and 1 with the Lions and 41 and 25 with the Rams. He's 115, 115 and 1 career. And Matthew Stafford does have 400 career TD passes. And Jared Goff, meanwhile, what's interesting about him is he made his 70th start back in early October with the Lions, and he's also had 69 with the Rams. But what makes this even more fascinating is that when you compare these guys' stats with their respective clubs, I broke it down in a lot of different ways. We'll start off with Jared Goff. His passing yards with the Rams include 18,171 yards, 1,536 completions, 107 total TDs, 55 interceptions, and 91.5 rating. Now, meanwhile, when you look, when he's with the Lions, he ended up going 17,816 yards, 1,601 completions, 124 total TDs, 41 interceptions, 100.9. Obviously, he's working with Dan Campbell. So, Mr. Detroiter, I thought about you here, pal. What are your thoughts about comparing and contrasting Stafford and Goff? And let's not lose sight of the fact that they both lead, the NFL.
Well, I think that some of that stuff is a little bit surprising and head-turning. Let's put it this way: Stafford's got the stats now with the wins, obviously, in the championship, the Super Bowl championship. He's already got his ticket to the Hall of Fame. Goff is creating that ticket and doing a great job doing it as well. I think that, basically, as you know, Scott and the panelists, the Lions just did not have it. They did not have enough tools. They did not have enough in the toolkit, so to speak, to defeat and win the Central or go on into the playoffs under Stafford. But now things are all changed. And, under Goff, there's a new confidence. And, of course, Dan Campbell, it all starts with him. And, he's got more weapons. Okay, so Matthew had Calvin Johnson. And, basically what it comes down to is that the teams, both of the teams, are much more rounded. They're much more complete offensively. But they're both great quarterbacks, no question about it. No, it's just amazing when you think about it that they were able to switch jobs and both of them reached success. Of course, Detroit's still trying to get to the Super Bowl.
Well, obviously, you've seen both of them in L.A. What's your thoughts?
Well, I remember when they first did that trade, like they'll send people to Detroit to die. That's the career killer right there. And but I was hoping that he was going to beat the Rams that year. Even though I'm in LA and I go to the games, I was hoping that they were going to win, and he did, and they wound up going a lot further than the Rams did that year. But now I think we're at this point where it's an even kill right now. So I kind of got that chip off my shoulder. It wasn't even me, but I felt like I was disrespected because they sent him up there for that reason. But no, man, those guys are both doing good. I don't know. It would be nice to see Goff. You can get a ring with Detroit. I believe he probably get into Hall of Fame before Stafford.
Really?
If he can get those guys to a Super Bowl and they win, oh my, yeah, I think he'll get in before Stafford.
Interesting.
Marvin?
Yeah, listen, Sean McVay basically told Goff, "You're good, but good ain't good enough." And and that's the truth. There are levels to this thing, and that's what he was trying to tell you with that trade. Goff is good, number one pick, really good player at Cal, has had a good career. With these quarterbacks and players, it's really about fit. Leadership matters, and ultimately, I think that Campbell is more of a Goff guy, and Goff's more of a Campbell guy. I think that's a good marriage, a good relationship, and that matters. That really matters in regards to chemistry and everything else. But McVay basically was saying, "Listen, I need a guy who could play at a higher level. I need a guy who can do this, and get us over the hump." And making that trade was the right call, because what happened was you saw McVay and Stafford put together a Super Bowl appearance and a win. So it was a great trade for both teams, really. But ultimately, I think LA got the better deal there, as they got the Lombardi Trophy in the trophy case.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. Stafford has 400 career touchdown passes. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
but number. Listen, and listen. Numbers are important. It's a numbers game for sure. As this game has evolved and we've become more of a passing league,
Right.
you see these numbers go up. Goff's going to have better numbers than Marino. He'll have better numbers than Elway.
Right.
He'll have better numbers than Fran Tarkenton and the great New York Jet Ken O'Brien. But does that mean he's better than them? I don't think so. Numbers mean a lot, but they don't tell you the whole story. The story starts and ends with championships. Goff has none. Stafford has one, and he might get another one this year.
Oh, no, I agree with you. Let's face reality. But I got to say one thing about Goff, though, Marvin. He does have 2 playoff wins for Detroit, which is saying a lot. We really got to think about this. Yeah, but come on. I know where you're going there.
You're talking
playoffs? We set the standards high in Detroit. You've got 2 at least of those. I mean, come on. We realize that Stafford's got the Super Bowl win. He'll probably get another one. He's playing at a high level. I mean, I love Matthew Stafford. What are you talking about? I've always loved Matthew Stafford. When I did play fantasy football, which was short-lived, I made sure I had him on my team, because I'd say I was rooting for him no matter what. I might as well take him on fantasy football. Shows you what I know about anyway. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, you're talking about Dan Marino. You talk about Fran Tarkenton. Hey, listen, I know Fran Tarkenton's cousin, Chip Tarkenton's a very good friend of mine. I'm telling you, that's pretty good stuff. All right, Candy.
A quarterback is as good as his offensive line, his relationship with his wide receivers, and the versatility of the offense. So does he have a good running back? Do they have a good running game? Is the offensive line holding for him? Does he move with his legs? Is he fast? Is he accurate? What kind of throw? All of those things matter, but it matters who's on your team, who you're throwing to, who you're playing with, and who's coaching you. And who do you gel with? Like, what quarterback coach are you listening with, and are they mentoring you? What head coach and what plays are they calling? Do they think the same way? Because let's face it, Dan Campbell, he's a gambler. Let's face it, on 4th down, it's not even a gamble, and you're not questioning, is he going for it or not? He's going for it. Whereas a lot of other coaches would be more of a So I think the personalities more reflect, and I think they're a better fit. Although I still would say Matthew Stafford to me is a better quarterback, but that's my personal opinion. And yes, numbers matter, but at the end of the day, we've all said Hall of Fame is if you've got the championships or not, because all of you would, I would think, say that it's, well, maybe you wouldn't say it because you guys are in, sometimes some of you are in with a conference. But some of you would say Brett Favre should have more Super Bowl championships, and so should Aaron Rodgers, and yet they only have one. But there are a lot of really good, like we talked about Marino. How many championships does he have? How many do some of these great quarterbacks have? It's not easy to win a Super Bowl.
Let me tell you, I love John Elway, though. I got to see him go out on top. Nothing wrong with that. My first Super Bowl, which was 33 of it, Elway got it done. All right, Jacob.
Well, first off, before I get to my point, George, you said Central for the thing for Matt Stafford. He's
North.
old, but he's old, but he's not that old.
Yeah,
And,
I gotcha.
so it's he's always been with the North. And as far as Marvin goes, playoffs. You're talking playoffs.
That's a good Jim Mora senior imitation, though. I'm impressed.
Yeah, but no. Here's the deal, though. Marvin made a good point about the type of quarterback with the coach. I look at McVay and Campbell like the old Simon and Simon. One had the Porsche, the other had the big old truck with the steel plate in front. That's what I mean. Campbell is the steel plate. He's the one that's running through the wall. And yes, that means the fourth down. He takes all the chances, all the risks. See that brother was the Vietnam vet that just ran through walls. He was just the top man. The other one's the one that thinks a little bit. He's the Ferrari. He's all that stuff. The thing about it is Matt Stafford always was the Ferrari, but he was basically in a Toyota Corolla franchise.
Gosh,
he was, and he was in a Toyota Corolla franchise, and now he's with a Ferrari, and he fits. I mean, Goff was never going to be a Ferrari like McVay. Great, darn good quarterback. But for what he wanted, guess what? It was a risk, but it worked. Even with the back, everybody worried about his Stafford's back, but even with that, it's worked out. And he solidified his Hall of Fame.
the only time I think of a Ferrari in Detroit is when Eddie Murphy went out and banged one up over and Beverly Hills Cop, and boy, did he do a whale of a job.
There's plenty of trucks with steel plates on the front, though, in Detroit.
Yeah, don't get me started with that. I have Mr. Detroit here, and he'll never shut up if I keep going with that one. Now, we talked about this briefly yesterday on Inside the Picks, and so I want to bring it up again because Marvin brought up a really, really good point. And get this, the records in the 2025 season, Brian Daboll was 2-8, and he was fired by the Giants. My goodness, when you compare Daniel Jones, 8-2, currently the number one seed in the AFC with the Colts. Well, Marvin, you're the one who's talked about it. We have a different group here tonight. What are your thoughts about those two stats going in different directions for these two different individuals?
Yeah, Dable couldn't get it right fast enough in New York. Obviously, it started out with Russell Wilson, who really wasn't bad. He wasn't bad, but he just wasn't getting it done, getting these guys over the hump. And then you have the young buck, the young stud coming in here. Dart won a couple games, showed some excitement, showed some flair, showed those fans some promise. The Giants had Daniel Jones. They let him go. Daniel Jones is a very good fit with the Colts. He's out there balling. He, first 5-6 games of the year, they're talking about MVP, and that only hurt Daboll, obviously. The combination of Daniel Jones out there balling in Indianapolis and Daboll not being able to put it together combined for him to get out of there, which was a bad call, I think, because you have a good young quarterback. I believe they have a decent relationship. Daboll's a good young coach. He can talk to these young kids. It's a different generation with these kids, man. The Bill Belichick approach, the Bill Parcells approach, I like that. But, in this day and age, these NIL millionaires, I mean, it's a different deal. You know what I'm saying? And these kids communicate differently. They respond differently. And, I thought he would have been a great fit for him. Unfortunately, the Giants didn't feel enough to give him some time, to give him extra time to try to finish the season. But again, a lot of football left. Still a lot of football left in the NFL. So let's see if Dart can do something, put together some more wins. I know he's been banged up a little bit. And let's see if the Colts can hold on with their MVP caliber running back as well. Excellent points. Okay, Will.
You got to come back to me on that one. I'm still out on that one. I don't have a lot to add to that one.
Well, then don't worry about it. You'll go on to a different topic and we'll just keep moving things along. No big deal. I mean, I know that you're obviously on the West Coast, so go ahead, George.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the market, it's the New York fans, it's the audience you're all facing, but I'm not going to stick up for him. I mean, yeah, he's a good coach, but you got to win. It's all about wins, and he didn't get it done with the New York Giants. I really think that it's a shame because he does have a lot of great college and pro football experience as a head coach and assistant coach. But he couldn't stay any longer. He lost his team, as they say. He lost the Giants team, and bye-bye so long. He's the second coach gone now this year.
Candy.
Part of Dable's demise was how he handled Dart and how they didn't pull him earlier because they thought he might have had a concussion, and the whole reason he didn't pull him out of the game, his whole handling of that was part of it. Granted, their record is not where New York media wants it or New York fans want it, and that makes a difference too. Lately, we have seen them pulling the plug earlier. They have a short leash when coaches aren't getting it done, or when the team isn't getting it done. Who's the first that they're going to pull? Most of them are going to fire the coach first, because what are they going to? They're going to fire the quarterback? No, they're paying them millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they think they have something in Dart. So, but yeah, Dabo, it's time to go. I haven't heard where they might where he might go. I have heard that they're at least contemplating Bill Belichick. Now, I don't know how true that'll be.
Oh, Lord.
But I'm just saying.
Well, we'll leave that for another show, Candy. Yeah. Bottom line is Jackson Dart's out, and Jameson Williams, actually, or Jameis Winston, looks like the projected starter with him being out over the weekend. Go ahead, Jacob.
Just to answer what you were saying, Marvin, I wanted to bring this part up. One of the things you said is that there was such a change with coaches. Is that you have to. It's a communication issue. I'm going to give you a partial correct on that, but I've learned that I've done volunteer coaching. I've seen with people. I've talked with athletes. I've done all this. Dan Campbell is an example of this. It's like the change that in these NIL athletes or any of these athletes now is you can't yell for no reason. It's just like, remember all this screaming, like, rah, 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 all time long. The Vince Lombardi approach, can't do that anymore. Yeah. Their main thing is you have to have a reason for it. It's like you have to be able to communicate right, and if you're mad, they're like, oh, we did screw up. That is the change, which personally I kind of like, because certain coaches just need to shut up a little bit. It's not helping. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, listen, also, with these younger coaches, I think they benefit from the fact that we understand emotional intelligence better. We talk about it. Leadership, the way that we look at leadership is differently now. So I think just times are changing. We have more information about more effective communication. And that stuff, it matters. I'm all for, a butt chewing. I'm all for jumping on a guy. I think, it's a different kind of motivation, and it's effective when it's relevant, when it's needed. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's a pound in the back. Sometimes it's a kick in the butt. You know what I'm saying? So I think you're right. I think the constant yelling just as a foundation of communication is out. I think we have better information and better ways to motivate our athletes.
Well, I bring this part up to people. I brought this up earlier tonight in the backstage, having the older dad like I did. When he was younger, yelled all the time. I'm just saying, not to me, but just overall. I mean, I had an older brother, so you get that point. Yelled all the time, all that stuff. He got older, and I got chewed too. But it was about 5 minutes and done. It was 5 minutes and over, and then he kind of give you either a wink or it was over. Don't talk about it again. And I think you get emotional intelligence when you get older. You don't want to wear yourself out like that. But as far as Dable, Thing is, it's just, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, for instance, with Ben Johnson. He's done good with the Bears so far, but we don't know what's going to happen with that. But the vast majority of coaches are coordinators. They're good with one thing. There's not a thing wrong with that. Their ego wants to try to be the man.
Right.
But this type of thing shows. I mean, Matt Nagy was the same boat. Then he went back to Daddy Reed. And, I mean, you get all of these others. I mean, Mike McDaniel will be no different. He's going to go by. They're great at one thing. Their ego gets burned, and they're back to what they're good at. And then people forget that they stunk as a coach, as the head man. But sometimes it pays just to put your ego aside and know you're good somewhere. I'll give you one quickie before we go on to this. Norb Hecker was Vince Lombardi's main assistant coach. He was the first Atlanta Falcons coach. 4-26 was his record, worst in the history of the game. You want to know what he ended up getting? 4 Super Bowl rings for being a coordinator.
Well, but
for the 49ers.
Get into that list all day long.
But I was saying that. That's all I was saying with that. Dable just needed to understand that part. He'll get back to somewhere, and he'll help a quarterback somewhere. You're just good at what you are.
Okay, well, here's a good did you know for a lot of people out there. Former artist Marvin Gaye actually tried out for the Detroit Lions in the early 1970s. What are your thoughts about that one, Jacob?
It was a shot in the dark. Didn't work. But
listen, Stick the man, he tried out and didn't say made the team.
No.
Tried out, Jacob.
But,
really?
yeah.
Seriously, really? That's a really seriously, really I can pin on you tonight.
No, but good. I mean, good for any. I say this all the time. Good for anybody to give it a shot. Yeah,
That's
you
all.
never know.
Put while you're ahead on that one, if you want to get punted in. You can't beat up on Marvin Gaye. He's a darn good singer. He's in the
He
entertainment
was a
business.
phenomenal singer.
Yeah, he was. But, don't worry. There's plenty of things that you can sit here and bite on. I'm just saying he tried. He's a great singer, but he tried out for the Detroit Lions. I'm telling you. All right, so he didn't make it. So what? Give him the old Marvin Gaye. All right.
Good for him, too.
But he was the best. But he was the best to ever sing the national anthem, so they should have kept him.
Well, go ahead. You keep it going there.
Yeah, he was the best to ever sing it. So if you ever go back and watch the footage of that, number one performance of the national anthem ever, Marvin Gaye.
There's Will
Drew.
Person.
Whitney Houston may have something to say about that, but okay.
I don't know, man. Yeah. I got
Yeah, she would. You're right.
Marvin Gaye, baby. Marvin Gaye.
Whitney was awesome, too.
Anything else you want to add about Marvin Gaye, William?
No, it would have been interesting to see him play, but you know what? To think of it, he was an addict. He was on drugs. Like, I couldn't imagine him on that field, doing what he was doing. And that had to be a publicity stunt because there's no way in the world he could have made it out there. Your body's your temple. If you put that kind of stuff in it, and he was already a small guy. He wasn't like he was a big guy. There's no way he was going to make that.
William, he tried out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried out. Am I on drugs? I'm on performance-enhancing drink called caffeine. Am I on drugs? Not tonight. Anyways.
Them not the same kind of drugs he was on.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Okay, this is a.
But it might explain why that egg was in the microwave. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's go back to my hard-boiled egg in the microwave. That'll blow a lot of people up. All right, go ahead, Marvin. What are your thoughts about Marvin Gaye and the Detroit Lions?
Hey, listen, I'm a big guy. I'm big on guys, people just getting out there and trying and giving effort and going for it. Kudos to him for having the guts to go out there and put himself in a very competitive situation, to train and to compete to be one of the best in the world. Obviously, he didn't make the team, but the fact that he got off his butt to go out there and do that, you have a lot of people watching football on Sundays who have a lot to say about these athletes. You know what I'm saying? Armchair quarterbacks, guys who couldn't even make the varsity team, who yelling at the guys on the field. So listen, the fact that he was such a dynamic singer, so talented, and he had enough talent to at least go out there and try out for the pros. What a special guy! What a special guy, special talent. I still think about the day he was killed. I was young. My mom was crying. And that image of her crying over Marvin Gaye has stuck with me forever. So when I hear his name, I recall my mom just crying, was brokenhearted over the loss of such a legend.
Wow, crying over the loss of a legend, but at least you got to hear him with the Detroit Lions. And by the way, I always like to say one thing about the Detroit Lions. They won a championship on my birthday December 29th, 1957. And the only thing is I was born 5 years later. Go figure. All right, Mama Paul, please cry at that one because a lot of people have been crying in Detroit since 1957. So, all right, George.
Well, I was
And I
alive.
don't mean that in a sarcastic way, Marvin. I'm just trying to add a little bit of light to it.
Oh,
You
we
know what I mean?
understand. We understand. Yeah. And that is great that he gave that a run. He gave it a tryout. A very gifted individual, as you guys talked about. And that you're right about that national anthem. My goodness, at the NBA All-Star, I think it was back in '83. And of course, one of Detroit's favorites here in Motown. And, you know, unfortunately, a very sad ending. But like you said, Scott and others, it's a sign of his determination and his athleticism. Trying out for the Lions, trying out for any team is not easy, but especially when I get into the NFL. But yeah, he tried, gave it his best shot, and his music stands by itself as one of the great artists of all time, Marvin Gaye.
Okay, Candy.
Marvin Gaye had quite the upbringing. It actually came out that he was actually beaten as a young kid. He started singing at the age of 4 in church, and his dad played the piano and accompanied him. He actually left high school to go join the Air Force. He's a great singer. I think it's cool that he tried out, for the Lions. Whether he honestly thought he could do really well, I mean, you don't know until you try, right? And you got to give him credit for at least trying.
Yeah.
So I give him a lot of credit. I think he wanted to escape and he was trying to find an avenue that he could escape from or, to. And music obviously was his forte, though.
I can say this, though, with it is the fact that he was at a time, I will bet anything, and I don't know, you can correct me, I would bet he would go for like wide receiver or something because of his physique at the time. But you know something? The thing that I say with this is, and I'm just bringing this part up, it's the fact that he came at a perfect time in that thing. But there was such different physiques in NFL in those times in football. I was like, you remember all that kind of stuff like that? You could have nice long arms. There was Harold Carmichael, 6'8". I mean, you don't see that anymore. It's like anybody can be able to go in. They can be a little bit skinnier, a little bit everything. It wasn't the big shredded physiques in those days. So anybody could have really gone out and tried if they were an athlete.
All right, let's continue.
Can I add one more thing? Sorry, Scott. In 1970, Marvin Gaye tried out for the Detroit Lions after friends and fellow Lions player Mel Farr and Lem Barney helped arrange a meeting with Coach Joe Schmidt.
There you go.
Oh, really? There you go. That's interesting. I like that.
It is.
Lem Barney and Joe Schmidt. Too bad Mel Farr Jr. isn't on the show. We might have to bring it up to him, though, Marvin, when we bring him up next week. We'll have to see about that. Remind me, Marvin. Be my right-hand man reminded me for bringing that one up. So, all right. Well, you know what? I have a topic that's ideal for Candy. Oh, do I put a lot of thought behind this one. Let me tell you, when we say a Wild Wednesday, this really takes it to a new level. So we're going to have 3 non-sports topics tonight, and this is one of them. This is a doozy, okay? Now, Chicago is Candyland. Some of the biggest candy brands in the world call Chicago home. So I'm going to give everybody a list of these things. Oh, I'm going to get hungry, but that's all right, Candy. I don't think about you, especially at times like this. Ferraro from Italy to the world. You got Mars, the global snack giant with sweet Chicago roots. You got Ferrara, the first Italian sweet store in Chicago. You have the Tootsie Roll Industries, a company that produces 64 million Tootsie Rolls a day. They're led by Ellen Rubin Gordon, one of the first women to actually be at the helm of a company traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Okay, then we have Frango Mints, Garrett Popcorn, Modelo's International, Global Snack Innovated, Harris, headquartered in Rosemont, Illinois, the creator of Golden Bears gummy candies, Feastables. That's how interesting this topic is, and one of America's fastest growing startups. All right, Candy, I thought about you. What are your thoughts about the fact that you're popular in Chicago?
Chicago has been the candy capital of the world since the late 1800s. So yes, kind of cool. I mean, to have all those different famous, popular, classic candies have roots in Chicago. Makes sense. Let's face it. It's Wrigley Field for right. It's Wrigley Field for the Wrigley gum, the double mix.
Yep.
It's kind of cool. I have to say, it's
Wow.
it's good that I am from the Midwest and the candy land is actually Midwest as well.
Well, don't think about you. I put a lot of thought into this topic because of you. All right, Jacob.
I mean, I've been to Chicago about 25 times. You go, I've never been to any like the candy stores or any of that kind of stuff, but you see it everywhere. So, it's not shocking that it's part of Chicago and it's part of, all the candies over there. It's not one bit surprising because it's what you've seen. And I bet every time I've gone over there, yeah, you get a little bit of a treat.
Okay, George.
Yeah, always what I think of is Hershey's, of course, but that's interesting, Scott, that Chicago has all these big name companies. Those are some really good brands of candy that you mentioned. And I really think that, with their shopping district, the Michigan, the Miracle Mile or whatever they call that, the Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago, they've got candy stores in there in that area as well. I remember I've been there several times, but this is really amazing that this many companies. There's a lot to be said for the Midwest. Okay, there's a lot to be said, and it's kind of a bellwether of much of the nation. And Chicago is certainly like that. Chicago is like a cosmopolitan city, but it's the roots of the Midwest. People love their candy. Don't kid yourself. So Hershey, look out, Pennsylvania. You got competition. You got candy from Chicago. I love it. I love it.
All right, well, yeah, that's good. It's definitely a sweet topic, and I know that's a bad analogy, but we got Jacob, Candy, and George. What about you, Will?
Well, considering I'm from St. Louis, we don't like anything from Chicago, starting with the Cubs, the White Sox, and now we know they got the candy, they can keep it. I don't know. No, we battle a lot.
Yeah, but your St. Louis is falling apart, so.
Well, not really. Depends on where you're looking at.
I'm talking about the highways that I keep driving.
Jacob, let him finish, would you? No, the highways are great. But you better not drive through the city at the wrong time of night. That's a whole other thing. But actually, the truth is, I used to go down to have my most fun. People talk about the ghettos and stuff like that. But truth is, I have family that lived in there. I grew up in the suburbs. But that's where we had all our fun. That's when people say ghetto, I got a different feeling for ghetto. That's where all the kids were, all the fun, all the candy was. Penny back in the day was penny candy. So, yeah. No, I'm happy. I love Chicago.
Let me ask you a question. You ever been to East St. Louis, Illinois?
Well, there's a saying in St. Louis. You do not cross that bridge. You don't want to be caught dead here. Cross that bridge. When you cross that bridge, that's the same bridge they did the movie Escape from New York on. Yeah, that's the same bridge that takes you across from St. Louis to East St. Louis, which is actually Illinois. But you do not cross that bridge at night unless you know where you're going. Like that's where all the strip club, the Hustler Club, and all that stuff is over there. But
cross that bridge 3 to 4 times. You do not. You're correct.
No, I know.
I cross it to go fishing. And I don't cross through the little areas. You just certain areas you stay out of. That's just
I know about that. I was just asking you a question. I'll have to move on there. I definitely know about that area. I'm not going to sit here and tell you a lot of stories about. All right, Marvin, what are your thoughts about my wife's favorite city now, at least in terms of sweet tooth?
I will admit I've done a lot of business in Chicago, and I never realized it until you mentioned it now. There's a lot of candy shops out there. You are absolutely correct. I've seen a million of them out there, but I never really put it together. The candies you mentioned, they all right. Listen, I've lost a lot of weight, but I'm a fat boy at heart, man. I think food, I think sweet. I'm faithful to my fat boy thoughts. Believe me that. those canyons you mentioned, they ain't that great, but Chicago's a great city. I've a lot of good food out there, good people, and it doesn't surprise me that a city that big with so much history has successful history in the candy industry.
Oh, that's why I mentioned Wild Wednesday. You already figured that out. You already mastered Wild Wednesday. I told you I never know what comes out here. So yeah, if you have diabetes, stay away from it. If you have it anyways, I'd still have it. I don't even care. Morris had 9 lives. I plan to make the most of the one I have. Well, I'm having it, but I don't buy any of the food. Candy does. No relation to she.
Scott, if you're gonna die on your own terms. Eat your damn
candy.
Exactly.
Thank you, Marvin. He's going to negotiate everything for me from now on. And when Candy doesn't do it, I love Marvin. He don't forget it. You know what we're going to do? We're going to burn through all the non-sports topics tonight. I don't care. And then we'll get to the sports one because I got some doozies tonight. All right. Non-sports topic number 2. New York and Paris route has been canceled because of low demand. This drop in demand is due to President Trump policies and negative feelings toward the U.S. As a result, Air Canada, WestJet, and Iceland's play airlines have all cut many of their U.S. flights with focusing on European holiday destinations instead. President Trump, they don't want to fly here. Okay, and New York and Paris, well, they're going to Europe. Marvin, take over from there, please.
Man, listen, if I was not a U.S. citizen and I lived overseas and I watched some of these the news channels and the media, I'd be terrified to come over here and God forbid something happens and they don't let you on the plane. Trump ain't, whether you like him or not, he ain't playing around. He ain't playing around. Hey, you got a problem in St. Louis? Don't worry, Will. He gonna send the National Guard out there. He gonna straighten y'all out. You know what I'm saying? He gonna y'all out there. But no, it doesn't surprise me. It makes sense. I mean, right now it's a bad narrative for him. Regardless of how you feel about him, the media is not a friend of Donald Trump. And if I lived anywhere outside the U.S., I probably would not want to come here.
Okay, well, it's a fair statement. I'm not the president. All I'm doing is putting the information out there. All I am is just a message giver. So I am. See, I eat it big boy because I'm a big boy, right, George? You see this shirt? I got this all the way out in by the airport. So I got to make sure I haven't had one in a long time. And when I get back to Detroit, who knows if there'll be any left. But I'm telling you, it's no big deal. I mean, it is what it is. I report the news and the sports. And like I said, New York Paris is canceled because of low demand. All right, Will.
Well, the truth is, if people are smart right now, you don't want to get on the plane and go anywhere near the United States right now anyway. We got planes dropping out of the skies. All of the tower people are, not showing up and quitting. And I've been canceling trips myself. I'm not flying anywhere. I'll drive, but I'm not flying. So it's a good time to not fly right now because you're probably going to save your own life.
So I have that thing called a Honda Odyssey, and what people call it my condo on wheels, and I call it the Bolt Roaster. All right, George.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. There's animosity for the tariffs and animosity for some of his positions as president. But I think these countries are forgetting one thing is Americans love to spend money, and the Americans will come and visit your nation and they will spend money. So if you're going to take this approach and say, the hell with you, USA, I'm not coming to see you. I think it's very narrow-minded. I really do. And I hope it gets rectified because, you can't just say, I'm not doing it because of this or that. I mean, there's within reason, but these people are being unreasonable, and U.S. has supported so many of these countries for so many centuries in troops and weaponry and food and medicine. I mean, come on. I just don't see it.
Okay, Candy.
The one thing that we all haven't talked about is how the cost of everything has gone up so much. Yes, George, part of it's tariffs, part of it's whatever, cost of living. People don't have the same can't afford the same things that they used to be able to afford. And let's face it, trips where you're going to other countries cost money. And for them to come back to us here costs lots of money as well. And so I think people are taking fewer big trips, might you say, and yes, with the government shutdown now, that adds to it. And yes, President Trump, there's people that are afraid of, well, if we come over here, are we stuck? Are we going to be shipped out? How are we going to be treated? How do people look at us? Let's face it. When we played, and this is just an example, when we played Four Nations and we played versus Canada, how people booed our national anthem. How does that make us feel? How does that make other people feel? We're not and I would say more so since COVID, we're not necessarily a nice nation. We're not always happy and nice to people that are different than us. And so I think that makes a big difference as well. And unfortunately, we've lost a lot of respect for people. And I don't know why. If we're not teaching it, if we're not showing it enough, but I think that's part of it too.
Jacob?
Well, Candy, one big thing you got to realize during the Four Nations Cup, I mean, they booed the national anthem on one side. I was expecting a kind of like 1991 when they booed the anthem, and Chicago came back with the most insane, the loudness you ever saw in your life. I was expecting the same thing. That was not the case. So people aren't thrilled with their own anthem these days. It's a different world in 34 years. But here, the big thing to realize also is you're dealing with a leader, and this is whether anybody likes him or not. I'm just giving a real fact. Whether anybody likes him or not, you looked at Washington D.C. on Sunday, gigantic amount of boos. You go over to Alabama or Florida, that place is giving him a standing ovation 6 ways from loose. It's like for every France or every England who detest him, you get a Poland or a Hungary that really love the guy. It's like all that guy cares. See, you're not going to affect him by those things, some of that, because all the guy cares about, this is where his ego goes and all that stuff. It's like he is literally a 50-50 guy as far as what people think of him. All he's looking for is the 50.1. And the 50.1 is exactly how he got into office twice. Not really, but you get my point. It's like he's just looking for the 0.1 that goes on his side. As long as he has that 0.1, he can take the booze all day. He can take all the criminal stuff all day. It's when he gets angry, when the angriest happens, and it flummoxes him, is if he loses the quote-unquote 0.1.
Okay. All right, interesting comments.
I got one more comment if you don't mind.
Sure.
Something Candy said just gave me a flashback. Like when we race in World Cup, that's why all the Olympic athletes, we have like 14 races every year leading up to the World Championships or Olympics. But every time there was a snowball fight, right? It's America against one country. They say, it's America versus all the Olympic teams throwing snowballs at us now. And that, when she said that, I was like, wow, yeah. I remember it got to the point I remember my last couple of years right after 9/11, we had Secret Service around us a lot, which we didn't know who these people were, but they're Secret Service. But when I got ready to leave the venues, anything that had American flag on, I would take it off and put it in my duffel bag. I was trying to not bring that extra attention on myself. But yeah. But when you said that, Ken, it just flashback. Wow, thank you for that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line is guess what? Paris and New York just don't mix at the moment. All right, one more non-sports topic I want to get to, but this time we're going to the feet, okay? Skechers is one of the most profitable shoe brands in the world. It started as a small distributor, which with no original products. Today, it brings in over $8 billion in annual revenue, and I am a good customer. All you need to do is look in my bedroom. I don't have a pair of sneakers anymore. If I do, they're buried in the closet. I got Skechers, and all I have to do is show you my credit card bills to verify, but they are good shoes, and I'll be having a series on these Skechers, but I thought I'd hit the biggest kahuna today with the staff. Marvin, what are your thoughts about Skechers?
I've never worn Skechers in my life. I'm not a big shoe guy. I'm not, I've had one pair of Jordans my whole life. I'm not a fashion dude like that. I dress good enough, for the event I'm going to. But Skechers, I couldn't do that, man. That's like wearing Ikes, you know what I'm saying? Not Nike. I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't even do that. You know what I mean? Like if I was older, I know they have like those slip on, you don't have to bend over, whatever. I get that. I completely get that. You know what I'm saying? So the technology they have that they offer, I'm all for the technology. But like I said, I'm just an all black Nike guy, literally.
No wrong with that. Hey, listen, what was the store that they had in Chicago? I used to go there. They had two. Well, I'm trying to remember which one it was. Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. I used to go there all the time when I go to Chicago. I used to go to Chicago all the time covering the Lions. George knows that. I traveled with the Lions all the time and hung out with them at social. It was a great time back then. Didn't know about the candy stuff, but I'll tell you, I had a lot of nice dates out in Chicago on Michigan Avenue. I won't go any further than that. And I had some good.
Wear your sketches, man. Wear your sketches proudly. Live your life. Don't listen to no young buck like me deter you, man. You do what you do, Scott. Do what
Oh
you
no,
do.
I ain't worry about that. I have to because my legs are all messed up anyways. Then again, everything is. So. But Marvin, you're a great guy. I'm telling you, it is what it is. This guy's a superstar anyway. That's why he has all his million shows on our network because he deserves every last one of them. All right, so now that I went off here, all right. So who's commented on Skechers? Raise your hand. Who has
I got one. I got a story.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Say it.
Man, it's the best Skechers story ever. When I first left Team USA, I moved to LA. So I was hanging out with one of my friends. We were always in this place in Beverly Hills, Cannon Boulevard, like all the private clubs are there. And so we had a group of people with us all the time. And one lady, she always wanted to ask me out. And I didn't want to go out with her. I wasn't really attracted to her like that. But she told me, she said, hey, let's go to the movies, but you have to be a gentleman. I was like, oh, cool. I mean, she ain't attracted to me either. So I'm like, cool. So we go to Universal Walkway and Skechers stores there, right? So when we get there, we bring our own cars. We get there. And she's hooked up on me. I'm sorry, guys, we're going here. She's all hooked up on me. I saw that Skechers store. I went in there and I bought 2 pair of shoes because I had one. I wanted to put a bag in each hand because she couldn't hold my hand no longer. So Skechers saved my butt. And I had them shoes for like 15 years. They were just sitting in my basement because I didn't really wear them. But I love Skechers mainly for that reason. But that's my Skechers story. I apologize.
I apologize. That's so Wild Wednesday's all about.
Yeah, it's Wild Wednesday. Well, tell the real story.
Yeah.
Wild Wednesday. Tell the real
That's
story.
Wild Wednesday. Well, have you figured it out yet? It's not like our first show where we got to get serious and talk about CT. Now we're talking about Wild Wednesday where anything goes.
When I bought the first pair, she still grabbed my other hand, so I had to go back in the store and buy a second pair.
Let me tell you something. I had a former Puerto Rican girlfriend who stole my shacks, and now she's out the darn door. I don't know where the heck she's at. Probably up in Jacksonville stealing something else. I don't know if she's legal or not, but she got remarried. I got the Rolls Royce, so it doesn't make any difference. I ended up in Grand Luxury with her. But anyways, that's Skechers. And the best part about it is they're on Hillsborough and Powerline, and I can get more of them. I don't know where I'm going to put them in this place, but all right, Eichhorn, save me on this one, man.
Oh man, you're talking about a shoe that I've never worn either. Now I got to be the first.
Well, I'll give you my hand-me-downs if you can't afford them.
Skechers is the third largest footwear, thank you, Scott, brand in the world by sales. And the company has got, oh my God, 33 years ago it was started. Robert Greenberg.
No, you don't have to get into that stuff. I have a series on this.
I think that their shoes are excellent, though. I got to admit, they are really good. They're cool-looking shoes.
All right, good enough. Quit while you're ahead. I have a series on this one, like I did with Nolan Ryan and Ichiro Suzuki. Go ahead, Candy. You wear them. They're pretty good, right? You go to your day job, talk about it.
You gonna let me get a word in, or you want to just say it all?
No, you can have it now.
So for years, I have had a job where I'm on my feet most of the day. And for years, my feet or legs have bothered me. We went into a Skechers store. I had never worn a pair of Skechers before we went into the store. I would say it's about 2 years now when they moved down here into the location that they're in now. And we went in there and I'm like, okay, let me go get like a pair or two. Let me try them on. You know, you see all the commercials. You can just step right into them. I'm like, that's kind of cool, you know, especially with down here, like it rains a lot and they get wet and you don't want to like be tracking all that in. So just easy on, easy off. And I will tell you, I have not had any of the pain I had before when I wear these all day long, every day of the week. And my feet do not ache. My legs don't ache. And let's face it, I'm not the skinniest person on the earth. So it's not like I lost weight or anything like that. These shoes, for me, have been a godsend. And I'm so grateful that I found them and that they're as comfortable as that they are.
And they're as close to home as they are in case you need more. Because you know I'm going there if I'm missing a color. I got a lot of different colors with them.
Yes,
I can
I
match them
know
with
that.
anything I have. Yeah, or I'm so I don't want to put them in my Florida room because they're getting eaten up out there. But I got a lot of them. I think I'm good for a little while. My dad doesn't have to worry about me grabbing any more of his shoes. I got a place I can get them now. All right, Jacob.
Back in the like with the 90s and all that kind of stuff like that, if you got Skechers and New Balance, it was grandma's way of trying, not knowing that Nikes exist and getting you something for Christmas when you say sneakers. And you go to get the New Balance t-shirt along with it. Now, congratulations to them. Things have gotten so much better, and they have shoe deals and everything like that. And by the way, wonderful. I'll tell you this, Will. I'm going to tell you this about your story. Hulk Hogan would have loved your strategy there. You know, to get rid of a girl that you didn't want to have, because he had a girl that his boss, one of his older days, from his younger days as a wrestler, that wanted to set him up with the daughter and looked like his brother, looked like her brother. So it's like, no, I don't want anything like that. So all his strategy was to set up with another wrestler to get rid of her. That's all his strategy. That's all the strategy he had. He would have loved your Skechers idea.
Oh man, saved my butt that day.
All right, well, you know what? I'll tell you what. There aren't a lot of. One of my favorite people I like to talk about is a guy that I met many years ago. His name is Mike Wilbon, and Mike Wilbon didn't have much to add when questioned about his contract back in August. But guess what? The end result is one of the few smart decisions the ESPN made was they brought him back and they did sign him to a new contract. I met Mike. He's one of the classiest journalists you'll ever meet. This guy knows what he's doing. Marvin, what are your thoughts about Mike Wilbon? Can you hear me?
Chicago guy, Mike Wilbon. He's
Yeah.
born and raised. Yeah, I like Mike, man. I like his show. I've been watching him for years. I think you're right. He comes off very professional, knowledgeable, classy. I've never met him, but always has great commentary, always has a great perspective, always prepared, always giving you some insight. And I mean, he absolutely is one of the bright faces of ESPN, and I'm happy that they kept him as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody talked about DeMar Hamlin when he got sick, but I'll tell you, the only network show that was on when that mentioned Chuck Hughes was Pardon the Interruption, and Mike Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser are the only two that had it. And I met Tony; they're both good people. But Chuck Hughes, ESPN blew that, and a lot of them didn't even know it. And I could sit here and get into my rants about Herman Edwards, who should have known it, but Mike Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser got that right. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, Mike Wilbon, I got to echo those sentiments that Marvin said. This guy's a class act. I've enjoyed his commentary on ESPN, and you know, he was a great and still is a great writer. You know, and Scott and I always stress the journalism part, as you know, with our careers dating back so many years. To be a good writer, you got to have common sense. You got to be a good sports writer and columnist and a good interviewer. And I think Mike checks all those boxes. I'm very proud of him. I know he was born and raised in Chicago. I know Mitch Albom speaks very fondly of him too here in Detroit. And yeah, I like Wilbon, ESPN. Smart move. You got to keep him there, man.
One of the few guys is worth anything over there, Candy.
Yeah.
Well, he began working at the Washington Post back in 1980 after summer internships at the newspaper. He has covered college sports, Major League Baseball, National Football League, National Basketball Association. He has covered 10 summer and winter Olympic Games, every Super Bowl since 1987, nearly every Final Four since 1982, and each year's NBA Finals since 1987. So what a career. Like all of those. And then he contributed to, I know one of the shows that we used to watch, Scott, the Sports Reporters.
Right.
He was on that show and some other ones. I like listening to him. I think he's very knowledgeable and he's very good.
Jacob?
If there is something that I can say about Michael Wilbon, it's the fact that he's the last of the journalists. Last. It's just like awesome to listen to. He and Kornheiser, really legitimate journalists. And if he's with ESPN still, they're not going to do this because they're too I mean, they're too much for the show. They're ridiculous. They're hard to watch. But if I got a call and say I'm running ESPN tomorrow, the first thing I'm absolutely going to do is put him under a specific contract to mentor every personality that gets in there for journalism, to get this right, to get more journalists on that network, because it's annoying to watch the way that they do things. There's a reason that one of the highest rated sports centers in recent memory in the last couple of months was Rich Eisen's comeback, when all they did was just the old graphics, and then all he did was just sports. It got enormous ratings. There's a reason. People just want journalism sometimes. They just want the highlights. They want to have a little fun mix sprinkled in there with that. And I'll tell you this, Wilbon could help that, but I don't think ESPN wants it. They're too afraid to try.
Well, Scott, I think you put this in there because he's actually born from Chicago, so you have a Chicago theme going tonight. He actually graduated from Northwestern University as well.
Yeah, very excellent school of journalism, right?
Yeah, we'll get to Northwestern a little bit, but I'm glad you brought that in there, Candy. So that'll get Jacob salivating, so I can get to that topic in a couple of minutes. But yeah, I love Mike Wilbon. There's no question about it. And by the way, for a lot of you folks, a little update on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. I had an opportunity to interview Bob Wischusen on Saturday over at the Miami Hurricanes game, and we had a good 9 minutes and 29 seconds, and we talk about some of the things about journalism. And for the kids out there, some of that will air tomorrow night, by the way, on Sports Wrap. I'll get to that. So let's continue up here. And here's another good one, Marvin. I know you're waiting for this one. U.S. Olympic and Paralympic officers ban transgender women from competing in Olympic sports. Executive order, by the way. Executive order by President Donald Trump. You don't like these people. You don't want them. What are your thoughts, Marvin?
It's ridiculous to have people who are born men competing against women. I just don't understand that. It goes against the very idea of sport and competition and what it's all about. I'm all for, listen, live your life, be free, do you. That's all good. You know what I'm saying? We're all God's children. That's all good. But, you know, I think in sport, you want to keep it competitive. You want to keep it the way it's supposed to be. And there's a difference between a person who's born male in regards to testosterone, muscle mass, and their physical ability. And in all these sports we're talking about, physical ability is everything. How big, fast, strong, quick you are, how you repair, how your body can heal. I mean, it's all about, a male versus a female. So I'm happy that that's not going to happen anymore, because I think these records have been broken by people who are born men and compete as women. It's what are we doing? That's insane. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy that we're moving in that direction. I'm for whoever wants to compete. If you are great at what you do, if we want to add categories, whatever. I mean, I'd rather see that than what we saw in the last couple of years, where you have men competing with women.
Yeah, the president. I'll say this much: the president got that one right. He did.
Absolutely, 100%.
I'm totally on board with that. Okay, we'll bring in Tony after we get done with this topic. Okay, but go ahead, Will.
Man, I can't always say I agree with a lot of things that is done in the White House these days, but that one I can definitely say I do agree with. And I never understood that one in the first place. Matter of fact, I remember there were times when I remember on one track team when I was junior Olympics, we had one girl who was really fast, and she lined up with the guys. There were certain guys she could beat. So people was afraid to line up next to this girl. So I couldn't even imagine being in a race, and there's a woman in the race in the blocks next to me, and she beats me. Like, man, that would be awful. I would have to trip her. Really, she could not finish that race ahead of me. I don't know what I would have to do to stop her. But when it comes to the other side of that, where you got these women getting beat and they're doing, fists. They're knocking people out and breaking orbital bones. Like it shouldn't have been allowed. It should have never been allowed. I don't know who's responsible for that, but it was just disgusting watching it.
Hey Eddie, how you doing? Glad to see you back in the chat room. Is Tony still here, Katie, or is he off? I don't even know. Is he
So
out? Okay, that's fine. I'm sure he'll get here eventually in a few minutes. So, but with that said, George, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Trumpster got this one right. I agree. I don't think it should be, allowed in athletic competition because it's an unfair advantage. And like you were explaining, Marvin, taking into hormones and testosterone and the bone structure of the male versus the female. And let's be honest, it would be overpowering, and we've already seen that in some of the events that they've somehow made an inroads in. Track and field and swimming come to mind. And then it's just an uncomfortable situation, and it's not right.
Okay, Candy. Well, Eddie's glad that you're feeling much better. I'll go to Candy. Go ahead.
So it comes as the Times of London reported Monday that the policy decision comes after a scientific review that found permanent physical advantages of being born male. I'm gonna say that former Olympic gold medalist Caitlyn Jenner, a transgender woman, has long advocated for restricting transgender women from competing in female sports category. Caitlyn goes on to say, I am a trans woman, but I am still biologically a male. And there's nothing I can, males have a better advantage, a big advantage in sports over women, and it's just not fair. That was all Caitlyn Jenner. Now, we all know that Caitlyn competed as a male before. And, as many it's just an unfair advantage, and I'm glad that they're putting a ban on it because they can have their own category, but they should not be in the same category as women.
And Caitlyn Jenner, aka Bruce Jenner. You can let Tony in if you want to. Candy, go ahead. Jacob, you have the final word on this. But yes, the president.
I got one more word. Please let me have one more word before we do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure if we are looking at the same thing because when I raced, until the year after I retired, I was followed by this agency called USADA, United States Anti-Doping Agency. There's another one called WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency. And there's another one with the IOC or USOC that follows us in drug tests. The same people that took down Marion Jones, Barry Bonds, and Lance Armstrong. And so there was a young lady out of South Africa. She had more testosterone levels than the other women. She was an 800-meter runner. And so they said she progressed too fast and they banned her. So now that I'm thinking about it, what ban could Trump possibly put? He doesn't control the IOC or the Olympic committees or any international races. He can maybe control what happens in high school and colleges in America. But that was never a thing anyway. Now that we're talking about it, they weren't allowed to compete in the first place. So I'm a little bit confused now.
Well, we all are, but one thing I'm not confused about is Donald Trump got this one right. Period. I'm not confused with the fact that we're going to a station break either. Go ahead, Candy.
Yeah, but where'd you get it? Where'd you get it right for, though? That's the question.
Well,
it was never a thing. Yeah.
Let me say this part. The U.S. women's national soccer team faced a group of 12 old, fat Wrexham players. From Wrexham. Faced them. Lost 12-0. The only reason it wasn't 25 is because the goalie stood on her head. I mean, and these guys were playing at 30% and they were out of shape.
Oh.
This is serious. This is serious.
What was the competition? What was the competition? What was the competition?
Soccer.
I mean, what level?
Oh no, it was the U.S. women's national soccer team versus Wrexham, the men. The men's they were retired Wrexham players.
So it wasn't a real game. It was a
no, but it was. But they were playing at about 30% and absolutely mauling them. It was just too much speed, too much strength.
Yeah.
This is the thing about it. These are pandering lunatics that deal with this. It's just what the thing is. And let me tell you this tonight. Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame, 44 points and 16 steals. Audie Crooks had 43 points in 20 minutes. These are stud women athletes. I'm saying I'm not rejecting that they're athletes and their greatness and what they can do. But when you're putting a woman up against a man, imagine putting that woman up against Wembanyama. against, we'll just say it, against Anthony Davis, even though he gets hurt all the time. It's still, look at the size, the hand size, the shoulder width. Everything is just different. And the media wanted to, there were people on the media that was trying to say, oh, there's no difference. We're gone nuts here. We've gone crazy. This was absolutely done right. And it's like, the final of that IOC, the boxing thing in that was basically 2 born men for the women's boxing. It's got to stop. We've got to know this. Men and women athletes are better than they ever have been before. Let's not ruin their world just by trying to pander to a very small minority.
Okay, that does it for the topic. Candy, station break. Then when we come back, Marvin will have a topic of his own, and we'll be talking about the USC Trojans. Go ahead, Candy.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, and another panelist on the group here actually wrote the foreword, Mr. George Eichhorn. This book talks about old school media versus new school media. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott, 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. But most importantly, if you see that subscribe button, that means you haven't subscribed to us yet. I don't know what you're waiting for, but just do it now. Click it, like us, share us, and then tell all your friends and family and share it with them and turn on the notifications so you're notified anytime we go live. Back to you, Scott.
All right, thanks very much. All right, Marvin, this one's all for yourself. All right, pal. So here we go. USC's recruiting class under Lincoln Riley, get this, in 2026 is ranked nationally number 1. Let me go over some of the things how everything is gauged. And it's actually broken down into California commits and national rank. Okay, Marvin? So I'm going to go over everything very detailed. In 2025, California commits, we had 7. The national rank is 13. And let's see, 2025, I said. 2024, the California commits are 10. The national rank is 17. 2023, the California commits are 12. National rank is 8th. 2022, the California commits are 4. And the national rank is 6. According to 24/7 Sports. Marvin, there's a reason why this team has improved. It looks like Lincoln Riley's got it right. They are a top-tier team. Who wouldn't want to play in the Coliseum and play under Lincoln Riley? This guy's doing a masterful job, and it's showing with these recruiting numbers. Take it from there, Marvin.
Listen, when Lincoln Riley came to USC, he said this was going to be the mecca of college football. They were talking about winning multiple national championships in his opening press conference, and I loved it. A big part of that for him would have to be locking down California recruits. You've seen Alabama and Oklahoma and Texas and Florida take LA recruits, California recruits for the last 15 years. They've been killing California, getting California kids. And Lincoln and his staff, led by Jen Cohen, our athletic director, who has done a phenomenal job at USC, and Chad Bowen, our GM, they made it a point to really go after California kids. We got elite talent coming into that 26 class. We also have some of the best players across the nation now. We have the best player out of Georgia, best player out of New Jersey, defensive end. We have a tackle out of IMG Academy, the number 1 left tackle in the class. We have a quarterback coming out of Illinois. We have a corner out of Illinois. But of the 35 guys that we have committed to this class, easily 20 of them are going to be from California. And Lincoln being able to nail down the best talent in California, specifically with the big men. That's where USC has really been hurting at, getting back to the offensive line, getting back to the defensive line. We got big guys. We got big guys who are ranked really high locally and nationally. And when you put together all that talent, we absolutely have the number 1 class in the nation for 2026. And again, We have some gyms on the outside of California, but Lincoln has done a phenomenal job of locking down California, specifically Southern California. You see him at St. John Bosco. You see him at Mater Dei. These are premier high schools in the country. You see these guys playing on ESPN. Nowadays the high school kids play a college schedule. They travel. They go coast to coast. That's just what they do now. And St. John Bosco and Mater Dei are two of the premier schools. These guys compete for national championships, and some of their best players are going to USC. And that's a credit to Lincoln Riley and his staff and their commitment to bringing USC football back. So when you see USC, who right now we're on track to make the playoffs. Making the playoffs is not the standard, but it's a big come up based upon what we've been doing the last couple of years. So when you see the class coming together, the team coming together, we're winning some games. We have new facilities up there. If you look at the Michigan game, we had 100 recruits. We had 100 local recruits at the Michigan game. There's a real commitment to getting that talent at home, and it's showing up. Guys are signing. In less than a month, we're going to have the official signing day, and you'll see. I'd be shocked if we lost one player. They're saying that there's rumors out there that there's a guy or two who may flip, but I'm not buying into that. And even with that, again, we have 35 of the top players in the country, and the bulk of that's coming from California. Lincoln Riley is recruiting his butt off right now.
The only thing I'll say about this topic is this. I know that when USC entered the Big Ten, and I repeat, they got a blue blood with USC. They just did. And I'll tell you what, you can talk about the SEC adding all these schools, fine, and they're all well and good, but nobody's going to sit here and look me right in the face that Oklahoma and Texas are anything like USC in terms of what they're going to do to the Big Ten. USC is a blue blood, period. And that's what I have to say about it.
And listen, in talking about the Big Ten, SEC, this is a win now situation. This is a what have you done for me lately situation. The last two national champions have come out the Big Ten. It is what it is. So we're seeing a shift. I mean, the SEC didn't. I was gonna say the SEC, wasn't dominant. It was Nick Saban. But you gotta give some love to LSU. Obviously, they've with Ed Ogeron, they had a hell of a team in I think 2019. But yeah, Nick Saban's gone. They're right now Georgia, Kirby Smart's probably the leader over there. But the Big Ten is real. The Big Ten is showing up. They're taking home trophies, and they may get another one this year.
Well, let me say this real fast, Marvin. You're partially right. You said Saban, which is 7 times. So you're right. But I live here in the only reason it's not totally Saban, 1 for Orgeron, and then you go back a little bit, 2 for Florida, and then there was 1 LSU before that. I'm not saying that it wasn't mostly Saban.
Auburn snuck in and got one.
Auburn snuck in there, yeah.
Right.
The thing is, they sprinkled a few in there. It's like it could have possibly been all Saban, but it wasn't. It was sprinkled some into that. Is why people said the SEC. If it wouldn't have been any of those, they would have said all Saban.
Okay, all right, we'll leave it at that. Okay, let's continue football. Tony, now you can enter the conversation. Glad you slipped a word in there. All right, 2 more football topics, and we shift over to the NBA and we talk basketball. Next football topic, Michigan said no to Germany to start the 2026 season. They will play Western Michigan in the Big House. That was an international event that obviously never came to fruition. So, Tony, what are your thoughts about the Wolverines deciding Germany was at the right time and they get Western Michigan in the Big House?
Hey, anytime to pack the Big House. I would have tried to get that trip to Germany for the kids, though. The travel for them, but the Big House is always going to be big. Western Michigan, though, yeah, send that to Germany. They could have used that across over the pond.
Okay. Marvin?
Listen, again, this isn't a sport; it's a business, and they're trying to push that brand. They're trying to make money. It's the NFL. It's the minors of the NFL. That's really what it is. And when you see these teams going overseas, and they've been doing it for a couple of years now. Mel said back in his day, Mel Farr Jr. at UCLA said they played overseas when he was in college. So this isn't new. You're going to see more of it. With all the money these schools are making, generating. I mean, they're trying to push that brand and make more money. That's all it's about. That's the bottom line. So, then coming to the Big House, like Tony said, they'll fill it up. It'll be a great game for Michigan. But you'll see more of these schools looking at opportunities to push their brand as time goes on.
Well,
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused on the matter, to be honest, because they got rid of the NFL Europe. So if they got rid of NFL Europe and they put all that money into that, and it was a feeder system for the NFL, why are they going back with the college
this
guy?
has nothing to do with it. This is about a college game that was scheduled overseas that
Yeah.
Michigan said no. This has nothing to do with NFL Europe.
No, it's nothing to do with that. But if they already started
NFL Europe, I'll tell you a little bit about NFL Europe now that you brought it up. NFL Europe, I remember when they had it many years ago, it cost the NFL a lot of money to put people and house them over there. It was just too expensive for them to keep it going. So that I'll leave it at that. I don't want.
Well, my point is, I don't know why if they shut that down, why are we taking collegiate games over there now?
Well, I mean, right now the collegiate teams want to build their brand overseas, and Michigan's arguably one of the biggest brands you can build overseas. You talk about the number one team in the country in terms of wins all time. Michigan's a big brand, and we'll leave it at that. But NFL Europe, you and I could get into conversations about that all day long. I know people that used to work in it. NFL lost a lot of money putting them over there. That's why they're making money with these international games now, putting teams over there. It's different to send teams over there and sell out stadiums than to actually house a team, but that's for another time. Okay. I hope that clarifies your question.
Well, I just think they're going down the same rabbit hole. It looks like it's to me. I mean,
this is a college game. College games do get played overseas once in a while. They do.
Yeah. No, I get that, but I'm just saying I don't really think that it's I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, it's a good idea because if you getting the name out there, you getting the students to get some travel stuff. Like I get it, but overall, having games over there, I don't really see the benefit.
Okay, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. That's what this is an opinion-based show. Candy.
Let's face it. The bit we talked last night on Inside the Pigskin and last week about the stadium. Michigan has the biggest college stadium there is, 110,000, and we said that they're averaging 104,000 for all of last year, their college games. In Germany, there are two stadiums. One of them holds 74,475, and the other one only holds 75,000. So that's a difference of at least almost 30,000,
right?
At least. That's a big difference. And how many let's face it, college football games are for your college students and obviously the market. But most of your college students are not going to be able to fly over to Germany for a game like this. Yes, the NFL has done a great job marketing their brand. Does NC2A, are they lacking money? Do they need, I mean, I think they're doing really well as it is. They're now paying their players. We're all talking about it. But I think it's better to stay at home. Let's face it, Scott, we cover the Miami Hurricanes, and we've talked about how the Hurricanes don't play on campus because they don't have an on-campus stadium. So they have to bus all the students just to those games. I can't imagine, how would they take how many kids and students over to Germany to be able to, be in that stadium and go to that game.
Okay, great points all the way around. George?
Yeah, I don't know all the details behind it. I thought when I first heard about this that Western Michigan, although it's a state rival, they had brought nothing to the table as far as attraction of an opponent for Michigan in the Europe scenery. Maybe it was some other things that were involved here. I do think it is a mistake, though, Scott. I think Michigan blew an excellent opportunity. And again, without knowing all the details on it, it could be what you said, Candy, regarding the stadium size, and they'll make so much more by just staying home. But once in a while, you got to sell that product. Jim Harbaugh was beautiful about that. He would take his team to different parts of the world, before the games ever began, obviously during what would you call the springtime. So that being said, I think it's a mistake, Scott. I think U of M should have went ahead with that with Western.
Jacob?
My opinion, which is probably more fact and thought process than people think, it's show me the money, show me the money, 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 money. I absolutely believe that a business decision did not get made in there, and they just said no. It's to be able to go over to Germany to do that. And they'd rather go to the big house because you've had Notre Dame go to Ireland, you've had all of these deals. So to me, it's a bit. Everything has to do with business. It's a business decision. It probably did. The negotiation probably didn't go right, and is this what it is?
Okay, we're gonna go rapid fire for a couple topics. Okay, and this is one of them. Northwestern Wildcats played their final game at the Riverfront. Their final 2 games will be played at Wrigley Field. Their new stadium, Ryan Field, is set to open next season, and they get to play the Michigan Wolverines on Saturday at Wrigley Field. Some thoughts about this, Jacob?
I never understand how they can. That is for everything with the crowd, and the crowds have gotten bigger and everything. The field is still the same, and it's like, it's like you run into the wrong. You take a touchdown, you run a little too far, you run right into that wall. I don't know how they can. They've had many games there. Don't get that wrong. They used to do it in the '60s instead of Soldier Field, so they did it. It's just the way that field is positioned. There's that wall there. There's all. It's like I don't know how they do it, but good for them,
George.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun time. Wrigley Field, such a historic ballpark, as we know, for Major League Baseball. They've also had some soccer games there before. And, of course, we all know that they've had some football games back there back in the day. I think the Bears played there. So it's an interesting opportunity. But the fact of the matter is that's done, and it's mainly being done because, like you said, Scott, they're building that new stadium. They're winding up construction on Ryan Stadium. And it's going to be a fun time, though, it really is. I'm looking forward to watching it.
The only thing I'll say is you can't put the Michigan Wolverines at the Riverfront in front of 15,000 people. You can't do it. You got to put them at Wrigley. All right, Candy.
We talked that Wrigley Field is an iconic baseball stadium, but I also know that I've talked to you, Scott, on numerous occasions, and you complained how going to County Stadium and seeing a Lions game was horrific. And so sight lines in a baseball stadium are very different for a football game than they are for a baseball game. But again, it's a chance to market it, go someplace different, bigger venue. And obviously they're doing it for a reason because they're in middle of construction. But I can't imagine seeing a lot of football games from a baseball stadium.
Will?
I don't have a really big opinion on it, but if you can ever say I played football at Wrigley's Field, that'd be something to be nice to go on your resume. But other than that,
that's okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's fine. We'll turn it over to Marvin.
Listen, from a marketing standpoint, it's genius. For Northwestern, it should be a home game. Michigan's a major brand, so they're going to definitely bring their fans there. My concern would be to Jacob's point. My concern would be the field, the turf. It's just you see so many injuries for these guys playing on bad fields, bad turf. So I wonder what they're going to do for the players. And in regards to that wall as well, until a player gets hurt, until there's an injury on Wrigley Field, they're going to keep playing the game. You know what I'm saying? So they're making money. It's sales. It's, for a lot of people, you're combining, 3 different passions there. And it's a great regional game, I think. Makes sense.
Tony?
I get it for the brand. I get it for the venue, especially when you have Michigan coming in. You want to sell as many tickets as possible as a business. I'm not really tripping about the baseball field per se. They've been playing football on baseball fields for the longest. The Dolphins did it. The Raiders did it. They play the Pinstripe Bowl in New York every year. So the wall isn't never a real factor. They set it up where you don't have to worry about that. The only thing I feel is it would have been nice for Northwestern to be able to close out their own stadium on the regular season. That's normally a celebration for the college and the alumni and the people that are currently there. And they don't get that opportunity to really celebrate the closing of their home field during the season. That's really the only downside I see of this.
Okay. All right. Well, there's another rapid fire question. Everybody knows that Noah Eagle is a rising star. Guess what? You can find him now at NBC and Peacock covering the NBA. So what are your thoughts about Noah Eagle, William?
I'm totally in the dark on that one. I'm not.
Okay, don't worry about it, Marvin.
Yeah, I can't speak on that, Scott.
No problem. Well, what about you, Tony?
Noah Eagle sounds so much like his father. It's freaking scary. But he's great. I like Iron Eagle, so Noah fits right into the mold. But Lord Jesus, when you think about AI now in 2025, I think about Noah Eagle because he sounds like his freaking father.
Okay, great stuff. Candy?
So Noah Eagle graduated from Syracuse University. We all know that Syracuse is a very good broadcasting school. He's primarily done a lot of calling for Big Ten Conference, National Football League, as well as basketball for the Big Ten, Big East, National Basketball Association, and the Summer Olympic Games. So he's done a lot. So kudos to him for getting this job.
George?
Yeah, I always admired his father's work too. And I mean, he sounds a lot like his dad in his inflections and the voice. But this guy, he's really made a good name for himself. I think he's about 29 years old now. And like Candy, Candy, you rattled off a lot of the different things that I was going to mention, but he's really come into his own on play-by-play. He's going to be used by NBC for the NBA, plus the Olympics are coming up. The Winter Games, at least, are coming up, and he's really he made a good name for himself, Noah. And I think this is a great opportunity for him to even make some more noise as a broadcaster.
Jacob?
Tony, one thing that we have to do is we need to see Iron Eagle and Noah Eagle together with the way their voices go. And
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
it's
No.
it's gotta be like a tennis match.
No, that'd be crazy to hear.
And it's like which one's which? Who? It's like, and then someone hits a game winner to you just got to do it. But really, congratulations to him, because like what you want to be able to do when you're the kid of somebody who's had so much success, you want your own name. Noah Eagle's gotten his own name, and it's like it goes into the Chip Carey needing to find his own name. He did his. There's a lot of these people that are whatever their job is, whatever anything, they can't get past their dad. It's like, so when you can get past your dad and you can make your own name, it's awesome.
Yeah, he's done a really good job for him. All right, our featured topic of the night: Cade Cunningham will bring a championship back to Detroit. Draymond Green at least thinks so. By the Draymond Green show. Keep in mind another footnote about Cade Cunningham: only two players have 40-plus points, 10-plus assists, 10-plus rebounds, and 5-plus steals in NBA history. Cunningham and obviously Michael Jordan. Cunningham pulled that feat against the Washington Wizards. Okay, yeah, George, let's start with you. You're from there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just make this one as quick as we can.
Sure.
Do you think that Noah, not Noah, but Cade Cunningham will bring a championship to Detroit? He's wearing number 2, and that's Chuck Daly's number, so that's probably good luck for him.
Yeah, he's 24 years old. He is really, really coming to his own. Last couple of years, last year he made the NBA All-Star game. This year he's just been phenomenal. They've only lost 2 games so far. They won again tonight, the Pistons. But Cade is definitely the leader of this team. He's out hurt, by the way, tonight. He did not play. But, yeah, that was an amazing statistic that he ran the other night, and he's got some great stats. He worked hard. You could tell during the offseason, he's listed as 6'6". And he not that he was ever out of shape, but the Knicks really, really proved the point that he had to get in even better shape and grow during that playoff series last year. That's all I'm going to say. He's on his way.
All right, so you feel he can win a championship in Detroit?
I do feel so.
Good enough. Okay, Jacob?
He's definitely got the right coach. There's no question about that.
Right.
Remember how many times I brought up him Biggerstaff last year, and it's like I think he's got the right coach for it. I'm not sure if they will win it all, but they're definitely contenders now, without question. They're definitely going to start getting farther now. Winning it all, that might take a trade deadline, a really good one, a really good choice for that. That might take it. I don't know if they've got it right now, even with the record that they started with. I'm not sure of that. But as far as contention, even if they stayed right put right now for years, they're starting to build things well.
Yeah, there's no question that JB Bickerstaff has done a good job. All right, Candy.
He's a good building piece to build the team around, but you need a supporting cast. And I can say because Giannis is on Milwaukee and he's an absolute beast, but he's not, he doesn't bring in, he hasn't, we've gotten one championship with him. You need a supporting cast around a really good player to help you get to that championship level and to win it because it takes a lot.
Okay, Marvin.
Yeah, listen, with LeBron being out and it still being football season and USC on a mission to play, I'm not in basketball mode yet, but the fact that he's in the conversation or on a list with Michael Jordan, that says a lot.
Yeah, it sure does. Tony, I guess we've lost Will the rest of the night. Well, we'll see Will in about a few weeks when we go back and do No Limits. Thanks for, if Will and Jennifer are up there, Will, thanks so very much for being on the Sports Exchange tonight. We'll close it out with the six of us. Tony, go ahead.
Huge Cade Cunningham fan. It seems like early in the season he's taken a leap. Him winning a championship in the NBA is a team sport. Best player always beat best team. It's going to depend on if Jalen Duran is going to continue to give you 30-point double-doubles and if Duncan Robinson can hit open shots in the playoffs, because they did lose a lot of shooting when Tim Hardaway Jr. got away and Malik Beasley got into his mess. So I believe in Cade Cunningham. Let's see if the other guys can come along for the ride.
Sounds good. Great by every one of y'all. All right, a few more basketball topics. And this one's a pretty good one here. Rick and Richard Pitino are the first father and son to both win a game in the men's NCAA tournament. Rick ended up leading 31-4 St. John's. He defeated Omaha 20, which was 22 record 22-13, 83-53. While Richard, when he was at New Mexico, was 26-7, 75-66, and over Marquette. I believe Richard is now at Xavier. Some thoughts, Jacob?
Makes me wonder if, we were talking about this with the kid and the dad. We were talking about this about a topic or two ago. And it makes me wonder, do they talk every night? To be able to get, like for Richard to be able to get some ideas, coaching ideas. Because, Rick Pitino isn't the most moral guy in the whole wide world with his stuff, but he knows his ball. And it's New York ball, to be honest. He's old school New York ball. So you can really get a lot from him. It's like, that's the question I have with them is he talking to his dad every night and getting his thing, or is he going his own way? Doesn't matter either way because both of them are starting to do really well. And that's awesome. That's awesome to see.
Okay, I got everybody.
I was just going to say, Scott, that I think it's a chip off the old block. I know that's a cliche, but he's built a very good resume. He was at Minnesota, Richard Pitino, and then, of course, New Mexico. And then now, like you mentioned, he's with Xavier. And 248 and 186 is his record as a head coach. But he's got some big shoes to follow in. But I do believe, and so what? I think it'd be great that his father gives him advice right now. And I really think that, he's not up to the level yet, but he is on his way. Richard Pitino taken after his dad, Rick.
Candy, you want to add to this?
What I would say is I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen more of this because let's face it, as a father, you kind of mold and you teach your son, you probably take him to practices, you bring him along. And so the son was exposed to this at such a young age and it's what he's known. So I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen more of it actually.
Marvin?
Yeah, listen, growing up, without question, this guy was at practice. He was in the meetings, kind of like Shanahan in San Fran and his dad in Denver. He understands the culture. You know what I'm saying? His dad grew up talking about this, talking about scenarios, talking about stuff behind the scenes. So, your dad's a mechanic. You may be a mechanic. That's kind of how it goes, right? So not shocked at all. But I will say this, in spite of having a dad who did it, the fact that he has his own success says a lot, because his dad isn't the one drawing those plays. His dad isn't the one in those coaches, in those timeouts. His dad isn't the one, in training camp. So kudos for him for being able to have success in such a tough industry in doing so with a dad who has a big name.
Well, I'll tell you, he had success with Minnesota and New Mexico. He's did a pretty good job, Tony.
Yeah, I have to echo what Marvin said and kind of what you were saying, Scott. Hey, your last name might get you in the door, but it's all about wins and losses in sports. So, like, if you're not getting any dubs, you're gonna see the door. And why would it's just natural, like you said. If my dad is a mechanic, I might know how to do an oil change. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just natural to be able to do that. And why wouldn't my dad give me advice up until it's time to play St. John's? You know, like coaches do that all the time. Just so happened this guy's my dad, so I can call him directly. You know, I don't have to worry about talking to him during the off season. I talk to him all the time. So it just makes sense. And he's been successful everywhere he's gone. Xavier's probably his biggest program. Let's see if he can get them to the Natty.
Beautiful. Great comments all the way around. One more basketball topic, then we're going to go to fun. Great show. Appreciate Will Person being on the first hour. One more topic. And, of course, Marvin, we always find a Trojan topic to make sure they have it all to your lonesome. And I'm always looking for you, Marvin. You don't have to worry about that. I've got your back like you always have mine. Absolutely. With that said, our final basketball topic of the night, we'll talk about Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry becomes the first active player in U.S. major sports history to have an administration job with the NCAA team. He does it for Davidson College, and he's actually from Charlotte, North Carolina. If there's anybody that can do it well, it's definitely Steph Curry. All right, Tony, you can lead off with this one.
All right. So, first, Jason Tatum is also doing the same thing for Duke now.
Okay, good. Glad to add to that. Thank you.
Yep. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm going to be honest with you. It's cool for name recognition, but I don't see Steph Curry, someone all the way in California in the middle of an NBA season, being able to really oversee what's going on for a college basketball season that is running simultaneously. But it definitely will help with recruiting. I'm sure he's going to hook Davidson up with some shoes if they can get an Under Armour sponsorship. All those things matter nowadays. Steph Curry has a very lucrative NBA contract and other things, so maybe he can help with NIL-wise. But I just don't understand how he'll be able to handle the day-to-day operations of overseeing the basketball program and being a very high-level NBA player. It looks good for the headlines. I don't know if he'll be able to operate.
Well, let me help you here. Number one, you do have Zoom, which will probably help out. And two, the one thing I will say this, and I've lived in the Carolinas before, being Charlotte, he'll take that program. He graduated from there, and he puts a lot of heart into that program. So I can see him managing Davidson College. I really can. Obviously, down the road, he'll probably be a bigger factor as his career winds down. But I'm glad it's a good topic, and if anybody I think can do it, it's definitely Steph Curry. Marvin?
Great move for both, for Steph and for the school. Listen, Steph's a bright guy. You see him, branching out to many different things. And I love to see athletes, doing things outside of their own sport, just having impact, So for Davidson, small school, he's a big name. Marketing, it matters. But this is NIL. This is NIL. Steph Curry can make all the calls he wants to these recruits. If you ain't got that almighty dollar, you ain't getting that player. That's just the bottom line. Exactly. This is business now, baby. So, autographs and FaceTimes, that's cute in the recruiting. But at the end of the day, if they're going to sign that letter of intent, you better have a check waiting for them.
No question about it. Candy?
So Curry wants to ensure that talented, high-character student athletes can have the same enriching experience he had at Davidson, which includes a strong education and professional opportunities. His involvement is not a traditional administrative role. He will not be breaking down game film or making personnel decisions. It's more about providing a unique perspective from an active, legendary player. He's going to act more like an ambassador for the university, and he can help elevate the profile of the programs through his name recognition and network. So yes, him and his wife, Aisha, are part of a new 8-figure fund to support the programs, which will help Davidson compete in the era of NIL.
Oh, Marvin, he's salivating. Where does Candy come up with this, right, Marvin? I can't hear you, Marvin.
You're muted, Marvin.
You're muted.
Nah, Steph, you gotta know how to pick them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know what's happening at home, but go ahead, Candy.
Nope,
Yeah.
it's all good.
You said student athlete.
Hey,
Come on.
but like you said, Marvin, it's about the almighty dollar.
That's
To
it.
sum that up, Candy, we're boosters.
Yeah.
Like we're just boosters. We're the big name boosters. That's all they are, you know. But
Yep.
that's cool. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, George.
Well, I don't have too much more to add. I mean, I think it is a step in the right direction for him. He's already looking out for himself and the next career, if you will. And he has a great situation there with Davidson College, the men's basketball program. They've had some winning, but not consistent enough. And like you said, I mean, it's not going to be like every game, every analyst. I mean, go over all the analysis on every game and every box score and every player. But he will lend his great name, and he has had a fantastic NBA career. Hats off to you, Steph. Good job.
Jacob, you have the last word, and then after this is pundit.
No problem. Steph's heading out, whether it's a year or 2 years or whatever. He's heading out. He's getting older, and there's little things. I mean, he had a 40 shot. He had a 40 thing tonight. He had 40 points or something, 40 plus tonight. So good for him on that. But he's still heading out, and he's still getting older. So you got to get to the next step. And I'm glad he thought of Davidson, even if I'm laughing at the whole idea of student athlete. But I'm glad he's doing it for his school. He picked that instead of going to somewhere else. He remembered his school, and that's really nice. It's kind of humble in a way because you could have easily just forgotten all about him, especially when it's that small.
All right. Well, guess what, Mr. Pundit? Floor is yours. Let's talk about pundit.
Okay, guys. You guys didn't hear me all of last year. Tony, Marvin, all that. George did, and definitely Scott and Candy. I was talking all kinds of craziness about the way the NBA game was played last year. 50 some odd 3-pointers a game and how boring it was. You remember all of that, George.
Oh, yeah.
And how they basically 4 guys standing around, 1 guy jacking up threes. I've been checking the scores. I've been checking the score sheets this year. I've been seeing, I check it every single morning, just what's going on. We are starting to see 30, 32, 35, 34, 36, a couple of 50s. The Cleveland loss the other night was 65 threes taken. You know what I mean? They only hit 21 of them. But that's kind of karma on you in a way. But there are more teams taking 30 plus than there are 50 plus for the first time in a while. You're starting to see highlights like Wembanyama go into the paint. You're starting to see like Cooper Flag got into Giannis's face and one of the plays. You're starting to see something like that. And do you want to know what you've seen in the middle of all that? The what's a good word for it? The crowds are up and the ratings are up. Just the beginning of this year, they're starting to get to there. It does help that you have the NBA on NBC and that music again, John Touch's music again. Helps on that. But they're starting, but you know what the whole thing was? Oklahoma City showed you didn't need the 3 all the time. They averaged about 30 plus, 32, 35 in the finals.
Right.
They did it, and they drove. They did mid-range. They did all this. And it's a copycat league.
Okay.
So that's what I was saying the whole time. I was saying cut them in half. I would still love it cut in half. That would be like 25-27. But this is a start. So that's the big thing. It shows everything. Quit trying to – it's like the whole thing at threes started with this whole analytics deal. The real analytics should have been a showtime, the idea of showtime. When the ball, 4 or 5 people moving the ball around and then moving inside. It should have been that a long time ago. But people in the analytics department said 3-pointers because it's more points. It made the game boring and it made it insufferable. Now we're starting to see something a little different, and I hope it's gone from the 50s to the 30s. I hope it goes to like 25, 27. Because then I think we see the Loyola Marymounts of the 1990s. We see it then, and then it gets really exciting.
Yeah, that was quite a team. All right, well said, Jacob. We're actually making good time here. So with that said, Jacob, why don't you let everybody know how they can get a hold of you?
I'm on Sideline Sports. I do Confidential on Wednesday nights when it's in season. I do the Top Rope Talk. Soon to have a new name for the pro wrestling talk. I'm also a guest spot, just depending on who gives me a call. So I get all those, and here and there I write, and then once in a blue moon I get auditions for acting. So then I just kind of do different things.
Well, you know what? I'm going to bring you and Rachel Galvin back on to talk some entertainment in not so distant future. You guys hit it off real well. I think our numbers were good. I like to talk entertainment. I'm just trying to free up a little schedule with my crazy college football schedule.
Hopefully she liked it too, because I did.
Oh, she had a good time. Rachel's one of my favorite people. You and her hit it off well. I just enjoyed watching you both in action. Great stuff. All right, George.
Yeah, you can follow me at South Florida Tribune website under the contributors section. I write for the Downtown Detroit Monitor, and I have a book. It's called Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air, which is chronicling about 90 years of sports broadcasting in Detroit. And there's a link at the end of my sports column to Amazon to get that book if you're interested. Reach me at gicorn@yahoo.com, on X or Twitter at SanGSports99. I'm also on LinkedIn a lot and Facebook, etc. Great show tonight, guys.
All right, Tony, and you're going to get more airtime. Every time I bring you on, you continue to improve, and we're really happy you're part of the Wednesday Night Sports Exchange for sure. You're a guy that I'm looking forward to working with. I think the crew probably consensus on. We'll find out more about your football knowledge as time goes on. I think you probably know enough of it, but basketball we know is certainly your forte. So looking forward to having Tony on week in and week out. Go ahead, Tony. Let everybody know how they can hear about you, and explain a little bit about your podcast.
All right, so Talking Game offer more of I like to say a barbershop type feel of how we talk about sports on Talking Game. A weekly show done at 4:00. We're live on YouTube weekly. So make sure y'all give us the comments. We love the comments to keep the conversation going live. It's Talking Game, so you can find it Talking Game on TikTok, Talking Game 1 on Instagram, and Twitter. I mean Twitter as well, Talking Game 1. Love talking sports with you guys. I feel like I'm gaining knowledge the last 2 weeks that I've been on talking to you guys. I'm definitely learning more about USC than I probably ever would.
Lucky you.
Me too.
Lucky me, man. Right? Lucky me. But so yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me on.
You're welcome.
Ready to come back on next week already, man.
Well, you'll be ready. Don't worry. You'll bring you on. Hopefully you get in here a little bit earlier and get some of the football activity because next Wednesday, just, Tom Shanahan will be on next Wednesday night. And when I bring in Shanny, this guy gives you a lot of football. So, Tony, you better be watching a lot of football next week if you're going to fit in.
I got the Sunday ticket. I'm ready.
Well, you better watch college football. But hold on. You better watch a lot of college football because Shanny knows college too. Just giving you a heads up, man.
All right, I got you.
I don't want you.
This is the Shanny that doesn't score goals.
Yeah, right.
Good one.
That was good. Hey, listen, don't kid yourself. Tommy's one of my favorite people. I met him in North Carolina. He has a book out there as well. All right, Marvin, my man, my right-hand man, one of my co-hosts on the show. And he's not a rising star. He's a star.
I appreciate you, Scott. You kind. Listen, I'm fortunate enough to be on the South Florida Tribune 3 days a week, Tuesday evenings, Wednesday mornings, and Wednesday evenings. I'm also on Locked On USC on Mondays and Fridays. You can catch me, Marvin on the mic, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Okay, Katie, why don't you put that GoFundMe page up and let Jennifer and Will know that we put it up at the very end. You'll notify them later. Even though Will wasn't able to go any further, that's fine. We'll put it up for a second and one last station break, and it'll be it.
So for all of you that don't know, Will Parsons is trying to raise money because he wants to holistically help people that have brain injuries, CTE, with a hyperbaric chamber. He has one himself personally. He's going to buy some more high-grade ones. He actually wants to help people get there to get the treatment too. So it's not like he's just paying for the treatment. He has a GoFundMe page. It's GoFundMe 93FF9C6E. Again, GoFundMe 93FF9C6E. On top of that, one last quick topic that I'm just going to throw in there. RIP to the United States penny. Today was the last day that the final U.S. penny just rolled off the presses at the Philadelphia Mint. officially marking its retirement. From its first strike in 1793 to today's last minting, the penny has been part of the everyday life, language, and memory. Now it steps into history, small in value but enormous in legacy. So RIP to the American penny. With that being said, the South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, along with the foreword written by George Eichhorn. Great job, gentlemen. It talks about media and how it has evolved over Scott's 40 plus years, old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's a great gift idea for anybody that is an aspiring writer, broadcaster, anyone that likes sports, likes stories. Scott did an excellent job. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. So go check us out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, you can call Scott, 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. But most importantly, if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Click it, like us, share us with all your friends and family, anybody that you think would benefit or would like our shows, and then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday nights on Sports Exchange, it's Wild Wednesday. Remember, you never know what Scott's got up his bag of tricks. Thursday nights, come on over to the Country Club to my show and fire up. But also on Wednesday nights, we do No Limits, where we talk with Will about CTE and what he's trying to raise money for. Thursday nights, Scott does Sports Rap, which is a hockey show. And you never know when he's going to throw in a Motor City Madmouth show. So definitely check out the website because that's his one-on-one interview. He did a one-on-one interview this past weekend, Saturday before the Hurricanes game with, what was his name again?
Bob Wischusen.
Bob Wischusen. So go check that out. Go check out our YouTube. We also have, we do press conferences after the game for the Hurricanes. Scott went in and got Fran Brown. He's gotten Alex Golish before. He's got Billy Napier. They're all up on our YouTube channel, so go check it out. And comment and tell us what you like and what you want more of. So email us. And that's a wrap, Scott.
Yeah, Jeff Rome was a favorite. Let me send a special set of prayers to my good friend, former Miami Hurricanes championship quarterback, Bernie Kosar. And I'll say this right now. Bernie Kosar and I were texting today. He's currently awaiting a kidney transplant right now. He is. He has an infection. He had to go in for a couple procedures today to get that cleaned up. So Bernie and I will be talking tomorrow before noon. I'm going to be talking to him, trying to go out there and pick his spirits a little bit. When I met him when I saw him again for the Super Bowl in New Orleans, we spent time exchanging stories because I covered the Canes back in '82 as I am now. And Bernie and I have always been close. And, you know, when I told him I had Alzheimer's, he was definitely one of those individuals was reaching out to me. And then he told me what he's got. I said, man, we're both in tough shape, but I'm saying prayers for you. He gave me a phone number. He said, if you ever need any support, Scott, let me know. And I said, Bernie, you got mine if you need it. And when I saw his situation on Facebook today, I said, you know, I got to text my buddy Bernie. So I plan to talk to him tomorrow. So I think relationships are very, very important to me. George obviously knows it. Candy knows it. Tony's getting to figure it out. Jacob, and more importantly, Marvin Powell III is too. And he's feeling like, I'll do anything in the world if you do right by me. And I got news for you. I'm proud of the family that I have surrounding the network and everybody that's associated with us. Marvin isn't a rising star. He is a star. Eichhorn, well, you know how I feel about you, Candy and Tony. You're on the way up, brother. Just stay with us, okay? So that's
1 second.
Yeah.
Can I just one thing? Saturdays, 1 o'clock, 2 Raw for SmackDown, my WWE podcast with my friend Adrian Rainey, who has that Rainy Day podcast down in South Florida as well. That's all.
There you go. Well, that's okay. Glad you're here to plug what you do, and that's what we do. So that does it for this edition of the Sports Exchange. On behalf of Will Person, who had to leave a little bit earlier, I know he's busy, Jacob Christner, George Eichhorn, Candy Ebling, and Tony, and Marvin Powell III. My name is Scott Morgan, off the Motor City Man. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next Wednesday, next Wild Wednesday. I'll have a lot more things to throw out there as well. Have a great week. I look forward to everybody out there, and this audience is unbelievable. And Kennedy Fraser for your contributions in the chat room. And one of these days, we're going to get you back on Professor and People as we start doing these shows again as time goes on. So take care, everybody. Have a great week. See you next Wednesday night. Bye now.